Hello! Thank you so much for joining us for the virtual studio tour. It was a blast yesterday. Sorry if you guys missed it or if you live too far away. It was so much fun. I think we're going to do it again, probably make it an annual event. But welcome to our virtual studio tour. It is an old mobile housing unit from the oil field. When the oil field was kind of crashing in 2016 there for a bit, they had lots of these little housing units for sale. And looking at different logistics, it wasn't a building I'd have to insulate or rewire. It was move-in ready, just me pitching stuff out. So this is the studio. It's 12 by 24, I believe. This is my beautiful view down the draw I get to see every day when I come to work. This is Jazz. She is the family dog of my parents. But I'll take you guys inside. This is inside the studio. Down this hallway is just storage. All these white boxes you'll see around, these are my clay boxes. I get my clay from Helena. The sign that says do not freeze, adhere to that. I had a bunch of clay freeze because I ordered it at poor time and now I get to re-wedge it all. But just storage down here of dried out clay waiting to be recycled, glaze chemicals, and clay boxes. So coming back to the main room, this is the main hub of the studio. Storage shelving, and that over there is my slab roller. Its job is pretty self-explanatory. It rolls out slabs for me. So I load the clay in the canvas, decide how many boards thick I would like my clay, crank the handle, and it gives me a nice flat smooth piece of clay. And that's what I use for my brand mugs, the Choose Joy mugs, any mug that has a patch on it. The slab roller is super handy for that. This is my baby. This is my kiln. It's an electronic controlled scut kiln. So the first kiln I had to babysit and turn cranks and levers and watch cones. This guy is all pre-programmed. So right now it's telling me it took 7 hours to fire on the last firing. That firing completed, and it's 66 degrees with the temperatures reading. But similar to a toaster oven, it has coils, and that is how it heats. It's an electric kiln. Pieces, this is what a piece looks like after it's been completely dried out. I made this mug a week and a half ago, but I put on the handle a little late, so you can't really see. But there's a crack inside of there, so he didn't get a go into this first firing. Because as of right now, if I drop him in a bucket of water, he's going to become mud again. So after they go through the first firing takes them to 1829 degrees. They come out with more of this pinkish color. This is called Bisqueware. I already have the first glaze on the inside, that's why it's a slightly different color. But it takes him more from rock than mud. So this is porous, but it won't break down. So I can dip it in my glazes and he's not going to break down. Then I put the glazes on. These are my glaze buckets. I hand mix my glazes. There is some glaze material and I keep more up in these cupboards. Glazes, you can kind of think of, there's kind of like a vanilla cake base, and then you can change the flavor or change the color. This is what a glaze recipe sheet looks like. They're done by weight. So I'm a free and wanton careless baker and had to throw that aside with glazing because a gram difference of stuff will make a big difference in the firing, as you can see. So yeah, so those are all the colors come from earth elements. So we got rutile, zinc, tin, copper, cobalt, chrome, nickel. Fun fact, cobalt is what makes the blue, and my black glaze actually has more cobalt in it than my blue glaze. And my purple glaze, this is what my purple glaze looks like ahead of time, is a very heavy cobalt glaze. That's what makes the purple. So it has more cobalt than my blue glaze. This is what green looks like. This is my brown. He needs stirred up. He's settled down a little bit. This is cream. So that's what they look like before the firing. So the tree mugs are probably one of my most popular. You can see this is what a tree mug looks like before firing. This is a blue tree mug. He will go in the kiln, hang out for about 6 hours, and take a trip to 2150. And then this will heat up, and it kind of, if you think of it becoming like molten glass, it will kind of glass encapsulate itself. The fluxes will melt the silica, and that is when the color change and the magic happens. After they come out of that firing, they're good to go. This guy's got clay splatters on him. Ignore that. But they're fully vitrified, which means no moisture is going to be absorbed by the raw clay. And the colors have changed. So this green is going to be this green. So in here we have my wheel room to keep the kiln safe from getting splattered on. These are pieces I threw yesterday during the demonstration. They're getting ready, for those who were here yesterday, they're getting about ready to pull off the bats. I've had them in the greenhouse, which just keeps the moisture level the same and dries things a lot slower. So they're not quite ready to come off. This is a new fun tool I got. It's a clay extruder, so it just shoots me out ribbons of handles. I used to individually pull all the handles. It worked great, but I found that my pulled handles look just like extruded handles. So I got an extruder. I've been happy with that. These are just my silk screens. The noise you hear is my father pulling in with the truck. My studio is up at my parents' house, and then I live at a farm a few miles down the road. But if you're wondering what this funny looking chair is sitting here for with this PVC pipe and handy dandy napkin holder, that's your guys' seat while I throw. So I'm going to put you in there. I hope you enjoy your seat. And I'll do some throwing for you guys. So I already pulled this piece of clay out of my bag. It's a little less than a pound. The first step to throwing is slam wedging. I'm just going to slam it on the side of my wheel head. That gets the clay particles in motion and will make it easier to throw. This is my bats. They neither fly nor live in caves. I'm not sure where the name originated, but they're what I use to take pieces on and off of my wheel. So I can put it on, throw a piece, take it off. They're really handy in production. Some people throw straight on the wheel head and then cut a piece off, slide it onto their hand, move it onto a wear board. I've never had that much success at that. Pieces can go out of round if you do it incorrectly, and I'm really good at doing things incorrectly. So this is the system I use. This bat system belonged to my pot mentor Ken, and he graciously lets me borrow them when he's gone. He's semi-retired, decided he doesn't like this kind of bat anymore, and he graciously gave them all to me. So these are my bats. So the first step is we put water in the bat check, put the bat down in there. We'll put some water on the bat. And then we're going to take our little guy, pick a smooth slide, slam him down so he sticks. Then we're going to put water on it. Water doesn't necessarily make the clay more flexible. You actually don't want to waterlog your clay. The water is more so that my hands can slide over it without friction of catching. So you can see there, he's pretty wobbly, but I'm going to do what's called centering, and I'm going to push my hands towards the center. Because off a little bit now, it's going to be off a little bit. It's going to be off a lot later when throwing. So we'll get him centered. So there you can see he started to be centered. If I hold my finger to him sideways, you can see he's still got a little bit of a wobble. So that bringing down is called coning. And my other potter mentor told me coning 3 times is the magic number. So we're going to do that to get him centered. There's 1. That's 2. And that's 3. So there he is, hanging out. Next, you can see there's kind of that dip there. I don't know if you guys can see from your angle. But I'm going to put my thumbs in the middle. I know that's the true center, and pull out to open the base. So now he's opened. I'm going to run my fingers along the bottom to make sure that bottom has the same level thickness on it. An uneven bottom will cause problems when drying and will lead to cracks in the bottom of the pots. So I'm just making sure he has an even thickness. Looks like we got a little out around. I'm just going to smooth that out there. Okay, so now we got that leveled out on the inside. I'm going to take a little clay off the outside so it's easier for me to get my finger underneath there. And we're going to go for our first pull. There we go. There's one pull. He got a little bit taller. And take some water out the inside, put a little more on the outside. And we'll give him a second pull. There he is. I'm going to bring in the neck a little bit. I think this guy would like to be a base. I think he'll make a nice cute little base. So I'm going to take the water out of the inside. Again, cut some clay off the base. And then use my favorite tool, which is an old credit card. I don't know where you guys can see. That's how I shape it. So I'm going to bend it and push the clay into it. And that is going to give it the angle I desire it to. So old credit cards and gift cards seem to be just the perfect amount of thickness to be able to flex it. So we're going to give him a little pot belly. Just refining that curve. And I want to bring in the neck a little more. So curving that out has already thinned the clay on the bottom, but since I haven't done any of this stuff on top, there's still room to throw it a little taller. So I'm gonna make his neck a little taller. Bring it in just a little more again. There. And there we have a cute little chubby base. I think this guy needs to come in a little bit more here. So I'm gonna, again, take a little bit off the bottom. The more I take off now, I don't have to take off later. And then he'll dry on here for 4 to 6 hours. If I put him in the greenhouse, he can sit there quite a while. And then when he's dry enough, the nice thing about these bats is I'll be able to just pop him off. So, but right now, he's still too soft to do that. If I pulled him off, it would distort all of this. So, anyways, that's how I throw. This is where I work. Thank you guys so much for watching this. And just thank you for everyone who supports me. I really appreciate you guys and getting to do what I love and showing you a little piece of what all goes into it. Have a good evening.